Hi third graders, it's Miss Greer. We are going to use our iPads to go over some of our fraction work together. If you have already tried this Exploring Fractions sheet, you can go ahead and keep listening. We are going to go over the work together. If you have not had a chance to try it, press pause and finish as much of it as you can. You should have done your work in pencil. I want you to use something other than pencil to make any corrections. It could be a colored pencil or a pen. So if you're ready to correct, go ahead and take out a colored pencil or a pen. Remember, mistakes are okay. I want to see your colored pencil or pen on your paper. I'll be using our fraction pieces, so let me get those out. We have the large squares. We have green rectangles, tan rectangles, and blue squares. And we'll be using a combination of all of those pieces. Also, it's important to note that the directions say to use our fraction pieces to answer the following questions. And remember, the large square is equal to one whole. So, number one. What color represents 1/2? Well, if this is a whole, I know that a half is when a whole is divided into two parts, and a green triangle covers the whole in two parts. 1, 2. So that tells me that a green rectangle represents a half. So what color represents 1/2? Green. The next question says, what color represents 1/4? Well, 1/4 would mean it takes 4 pieces to cover a whole. So if this is my whole, a blue square will cover that whole with 4 pieces. So what color represents 1/4? Blue. Number 3, what color represents 1/8? Well, there's a couple ways to think about this. I could think of it in terms of 8 pieces cover a whole. I could think of it as 4 pieces cover a half. Or I could think of it as 2 pieces cover a 1/4. So if we go back to our yellow square, that's a whole. It would take 8 tan rectangles to cover that whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 across the top. So tan. If you used brown or maybe even thought this was kind of pink looking, that's fine. Number 4, without using a green rectangle, what is another way to show 1/2? Well, we know that a green rectangle is 1/2. So I have to think of other pieces that could work to show 1/2. One way that I thought of was 2 blue squares. I need to write the fraction that those 2 blue squares represent. They represent 2/4, because 1 blue square is 1/4, 2 blue squares are 2/4. There are other answers to this, so if you have something other than 2/4, you might want to write me a little note. Miss Greer, is this right? And I'll go in and check it. Number 5, what fraction are 3 blue squares equal to? So let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3. 3 blue squares. It's not quite a whole. I have 3 out of 4 pieces. So we call this fraction 3/4. Number 6, what fraction are 5 tan rectangles equal to? Well, if I take my whole here and I cover 5 tan rectangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that one tan rectangle is 1/8. We said that up here. So 5 tan rectangles would be 5/8. Remember, if you didn't have that answer, go ahead and write it in with your colored pencil or your pen. Number 7, without using a yellow square, write another way to show one whole. So I can't use a yellow square. One way would be 2 halves. There's a couple ways I could write this. I could write 1/2 plus 1/2, or I could write 2 halves. That represents a whole. There are other ways to represent a whole. Maybe I used 4 blue squares. I know that blue squares are fourths, so I could say 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, because I have 4 of them. Or I could say 4/4. There are other answers. There are many answers that would be correct for this question. If you have something else, just leave it and I will check it when you turn it in. Let's turn it over to the back. Now, if you forgot to do the back, you could hit pause right now and try to do as much of it as you can. If you've had a chance to give it a try, well, then let's correct. Number 8, if you add a blue square to a green rectangle, how much do you have? Write the equation and your answer. I see an important math word here, equation, okay? An equation is kind of a fancy word for a number sentence. We'll be talking more about that later. Okay, so a blue square and a green rectangle. How much do you have? So my equation would be an addition sentence since I'm joining them together. It would look like this: 1/4, because that's what the blue square is equal to, plus, and a green rectangle is 1/2, equals. Now, how do I add these together? That's tricky. Some of you have already started figuring this out. I can figure out how many fourths this would be altogether. I already have 1/4, and I can use 2 more fourths to cover the green rectangle. So how many fourths do I have altogether? 1, 2, 3. So 1/4 plus 1/2 equals 3/4. That was a tricky one. We might need to practice a few of those. Clear my page, and let's look at number 9. If you add a green rectangle to a yellow square, how much do you have? Write the equation and your answer. So the directions are very similar to number 8. So green rectangle, let's get that out. Yellow square. Oh, okay. So since a yellow square is a whole, I know that I have more than a whole if I'm adding a green rectangle to it. So let's start with my equation. I have 1, because 1 is my whole. I'm adding to it the green rectangle. The green rectangle is 1/2. 1 plus 1/2 altogether equals 1.5, and we write that like this. You maybe haven't written a mixed number before. That's what we call a whole number and a fraction, a mixed number. That's what it looks like. Go ahead and make sure that is what's on your paper. Number 10. If you add 2 yellow squares to 3 blue squares, how much do you have? Oh boy, okay, so 2 yellow squares. 1, 2. So I know that that's 2 wholes. To 3 blue squares. 1, 2, 3. Let's start by writing the equation. My equation, 2 yellow squares, is 2 plus 3 blue squares. 3 blue squares, let's see. 1, 2, 3. I know that 1 blue square is 1/4, so 3 blue squares would be 3/4. 2 plus 3/4 equals 2 3/4. There's that mixed number again, a whole number with a fraction. Number 11 says, make up a fraction equation of your own and solve it. Okay, so we could have lots of different answers for this, and I will check yours when you turn it in, but let me show you an example in case this was something you were stuck on. I'm going to use a 1/2 plus an 1/8. So my equation is going to be 1/2 plus 1/8 equals. Now, I need to figure out if I join these two together, how much do I have? In order to do that, I have to figure out how many 1/8 is this 1/2 equal to. I can use my tan rectangles to figure that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a green rectangle is equal to 4/8. So now if I have 1/2, which is represented here, plus 1/8, let's see how many 1/8 I have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/8. See if you can come up with a different equation of your own and a solution. If you need to go back to any part of this video, you can do so. I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but you can also pause it along the way if it seems as though I'm moving quickly. Thanks for your hard work. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.